Is loneliness low-key a superpower? And when I say, is it a superpower? Obviously, for it to be that way, something needs to happen. Like, you can't just feel loneliness and be like, yeah, bro, I feel like this is actually a superpower. What I mean by that is like, is the ability to be comfortable with being on your own for a long period of time and sit through that uncomfort and sit through that, wanting companionship or wanting someone there sort of a thing. Is that net beneficial or net negative? And I think on a very long-term sort of a thing, it's definitely net negative. Obviously, like, I'm pretty sure I've seen multiple studies that they've done that loneliness and no social connection or interaction of any kind can be like just as detrimental for your health as like cigarettes. And because it's just the constant state of depression, the constant state of just cortisol release, like there's no sort of like serotonin and just like interaction with people. And I'm kind of speaking about this from the context of like not having, whether you're a guy or a girl, like not having any like love interest sort of a thing for like a long period of time, especially when you're young. And I bounce back and forth whether I should make some of these videos or not, because it's scary. Like, I feel like inherently in me talking about something like this, it's pretty telling of my situation and how I feel. But what's the saying, like, don't listen to someone who like hasn't experienced what you've experienced. And I'm not even like through all this. Like, I'm genuinely talking myself through this current state in my life right now. Like, I've been single for longer than I've ever been single in my life. I'm only 23, so there's not like seemingly not that much time that I've been out here experiencing things. I feel like things are just really starting, but I'm like playing with this idea in my head of like, is it a good thing right now? And I think that there's positives and there's negatives, obviously. And I think some of the positives is like, I didn't go to college, so I had like one of the biggest things I had to first deal with was the FOMO, like seeing everyone like, and doing their Greek life stuff, in a fraternity or a sorority, and dealing with like missing out. Like, I wasn't there. Like, I was just like working at Domino's or waiting tables or Target or doing woodworking. Like, it was just, I wasn't, and so I think that is a big part of a potential positive of loneliness in itself. Is I think it's important to be able to be comfortable with being on your own and doing things by yourself and like being able to entertain yourself without the need for like constant like mental stim of someone else being there. Like the ability to sit with your own thoughts and feel yourself out about your life and how you're actually feeling, what you don't like, what you do like about your current situation and whatnot. But I think obviously the negative is kind of what I said, and the point that I've reached is, for so long or not for so long, but for seemingly a long time, the longest time that I've ever been, I've consciously been in a state of non-pursuit of like intimate relationships like that, like looking for a potential partner. And I find myself recently, like, I'll be out places and like all I see is like They're like, everyone's got their like girl with them, or like everyone's got their like guy with them. Like all I see is like couples. And I'm like, bro, am I like okay? Like that's like all I see. And I kind of just have to like have some grace with myself in these standpoints and be like, bro, well, like, of course that's going to feel good. Of course, like it's been a long time since I've like done that or like really been with someone like that. And like you're human, you crave that, of course. But, oh man, it's kind of, I know I'm going to upload this video because I really want to make videos that are as human as possible, as well as talking about just like, you know, the physical side of things and like diet and health and all of that whatnot, and the state of like food additives and, you know, how you can educate yourself on that type of stuff. But, you know, that's not the extent of me. That's what has like popped off on social media, but that's not like who I is. And, you know, it's cool that that popped off, but it kind of turned me into like the food additives guy, and like I'm that guy, but that's like not my entire existence, you know, like there's other shit. And so I feel like I can offer more. I feel like these conversations are the conversations that I'd like to hear. It's like Alex Hermosi and Chris Williamson had an interview, and they said like something along the lines of like there's immense value in someone speaking from a place of like where they were, speaking back to a place from like where they were, or speaking from a place of where they currently were, and like relating it, like, because there's other people out there that actually feel that, and they went into the whole thing that I just said of like, why take advice from someone who has not been in your shoes and like walked your experience. And so I know there's other people out there, and maybe it's predominantly guys. It's probably predominantly guys, but if there's some girls out there too that are listening to this, like, hello. I just think, I don't know. I'm trying to reason with myself. I actually feel, I'm like, what's the way to go? Because I've been in this state of non-pursuit for a long time out of just like self-improvement or whatever. But I feel like maybe there's an aspect of self-improvement that I'm missing in terms of like there's a whole side of like being in a relationship that's like improving yourself within a relationship sort of a thing, or within like having a like companionship in that way with a partner, like girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And like the first words I said are, is it a superpower to be able to feel lonely? And I think in a standpoint it is. I think it's really important to teach yourself and like get comfortable with being alone and being able to entertain yourself and do your own thing and not worry about what others are doing. But I feel like that's a double-edged sword, and I feel like I've also pushed myself to a place where, you know, realistically I've spent nearly all of my time for the past like year and a half to 2 years, maybe even longer, like on my own, doing my own thing, to the point where like I don't even hang out with my friends anymore, really. Like the people who used to be my friends. And like that's lonely too, because I feel like it sucks. Because I feel like I miss those people. I just had to remove myself from being like around devices. And I feel like they feel like I ghosted them in a way. And that was like not my intention. I was doing it for like the sake of myself and for the sake of like forward progress. And so like that coupled with just realistically, like being out of the game for so long, like I'm not smooth with the shits anymore, bro. Like I could be, but I also feel like the few people that I have come in contact with, I don't don't understand. Everyone's like, oh, they don't understand me, but I genuinely feel like those people like don't really understand like where I'm coming from. Because I feel like a lot of people are on the same wave as me right now, where it's like I'm like dating to marry sort of thing. And I'm not someone who's like no sex till marriage. Like I have definitely not lived that out. That's never been something that I don't even really agree with that for my own life. Like, but I've also like never been in the stage where I'm like, yeah, legitimately like dating to marry sort of a thing. And I can say that, but I like literally have not been like dating, you know? But I guess for like when me saying that, like I'm looking, like everyone wants that person that they feel like they can like that's their like ride or die, and like maybe that's just like what I'm saying. That's like me wanting that is why I say like, oh, I'm like only dating to marry sort of a thing. But at the why put like me and another person like through heartbreak if I like never even could slightly even kind of sort of see myself like being with this person for like the rest of my life. And so I feel like because I have those like standards per se, and I'm like coming at it from like depth instead of just like, oh, willy-nilly, let's just like have a ball and like see how this goes. It's like, bro, I've done that and it just like did not, it was fucked. So I take it a little bit more serious in that regard. And dude, I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying anymore, but like maybe again, I say this every single time I sit down and fucking record a video, but like the only point of me recording any of these, which at some point this like YouTube is going to this channel is just going to turn into like my diary. And you know, it takes a lot of vulnerability, especially with like the long form, to sit down and like talk about stuff like this, because it's just like, I don't know. I'm not just making 2-minute Instagram videos. I'm worried about like, ooh, are they gonna judge me? It's like I can edit together a 2-minute Instagram video and like cut out parts that I feel like make me appear, like give people less grounds to like shit on me for. But like this, like I'm purposely doing these like pretty uncut. Like any cuts or slices you see are literally just cutting out like pauses. Where I'm not speaking. Like I'm not cutting out any of the conversation or any of the words I'm saying on purpose. Just, you know, so that like maybe at some point when I look back in like 30 years, I can be like, holy shit, dude. Like, I feel like I'll appreciate it. And along with that, it's like maybe one person gets it. Maybe one person, like something I said off the start, like felt like it spoke to them so much that they wanted to listen to the rest of it, or skimmed through and like got to a point where they're like, oh yeah, this like resonates with me too. Like this dude is speaking my fucking experience. And I don't know. I sat down and recorded this, but it's like I haven't even worked through this myself. I think there's one standpoint that like it is a superpower, that being lonely is a superpower, because it allows you to focus on yourself and focus on your own shit and like really put your head down and start to get comfortable with being alone, start to get comfortable with like the uncomfort of just like your own thoughts and your own mind and stuff like that. And I think there's huge value there. And I kind of, you know, preach about like, you know, get comfortable with the uncomfortable, get comfortable with your own thoughts. Like you got to be comfortable, like what are you doing if you're just always distracting from like the, you know, like the the silence at the end of the night where you're just like thinking about your experience and like this and that and the other. Like it is uncomfortable when you like actually do, and you sit down and you've never done it before, and you just like, your brain starts running. It's like, yeah, you start trying to distract from it because it's like, like not a familiar feeling. But at the same time, there's the opposite feeling of like, this is like all I see. This is like all like I was saying, like I feel like when I go out, like all I see is like couples. And I'm like, I know literally like not every, like there's a lot of people like me. There's a lot of people who like don't have that. But like, it's just been something I've noticed over the past like 2 weeks that I just like, you know, when I see people driving, I swear like every fucking car I look into, there's like a couple. And I'm like, why the fuck do I always see this? It's like, it's because I'm thinking about it. It's because it's like I like yearn for that like compatibility and that like sense of connection sort of a thing, but at the same time I'm like actively like not willing to like pursue it. I'm like hopefully something like the view that I've taken is like the next thing, I've literally said these words so many times, like the next relationship I get into is just gonna have to like so perfectly like fall into place and just like work with like what I do and like how I feel about things and like everything. Like obviously there's effort put forth, but you know, I also like, I don't drink anymore. Like I don't go down to bars in 6th Street, which is a street in Austin, Texas, like where everyone goes out and shit like that. Or like, I don't even go anywhere to like do that. And like where people typically meet people. But I like have been trying to put myself in like the spaces lately to just with like friends, just to be like more social, just like meeting new people. And I think it's really easy to get into the thought pattern of like feeling lonely, but I feel like it's very necessary. You know, the conclusion that I have come towards is like it's inevitable, like for the experience that like I'm like for what I'm trying to do in life, which like I don't really know entirely exactly like what my actual purpose is, but I think a big part of what I'm focusing on, or not I think, but a big part of the things I'm focusing on lately is like limiting my stress, just like taking a breath and like not being so high strung and just like nervous and anxious and just like worked up over what's going on in like my head and how I feel about things and like money and like health and this, that, and the other. It's like all of that to say is like, if I'm working on all of that stuff, like, should I even be fucking looking to like welcome someone else in my life? Should I even be looking for that fucking companionship, you know? It's like there's one aspect of me that feels like, well, I'm like, would I just end up like disservicing someone by like taking my load of shit, you know? But it's like the right person like might be experiencing the exact same thing and we might like bounce off of each other like perfectly and really help in that regard, you know? It's like I'm looking for that like 1 in a billion. But it's like, bro, it's like I'm not even like actively like pursuing that. I'm not even like actively like really like I'm like looking for it, but like I'm not actively like going and searching. You know? I'm just kind of like saying that like, I'm like kind of looking for that. Like, it's like kind of like hypocritical of me with myself to be like, yeah, well, you feel lonely, but you're like not doing anything about it. So like, what? Like, shut the fuck up. That's kind of like the conclusion I've reached. It's like, bro, like you've made this decision to like better yourself, and that like you've said. I couldn't even tell you the amount of times over the past like, year and a half, 2 years, that I've said like I'm actively like in a state of not pursuing like anyone like that, and like there's been times here and there like where I have felt like I was kind of But then shit just happens, and then it just is no longer like, you know, the situation anymore. I'm no longer talking to like that person or those people anymore. I'm just like, does God not want this for me right now? You know? Which, like, I don't think that's like the case. Like, I think like he would and does. But I'm like, maybe I'm just like human willing it too much. Maybe I've like human willed the whole like I'm actively just like working on me, like sort of a thing for too long. Like I've gotten myself into that rut and I need to just like calm down. Like I'm in a state of like calm the fuck down, bro. Like it's gonna be fine. Like everything, like it's gonna be fine. Like I don't know how, but like the bills are gonna get paid. Like it's gonna be fucking fine. I don't know how, but like you're gonna have a sense of companionship. You're gonna have a wife and kids eventually at some point, but like maybe not right this second, maybe not now. You know? God, it's I'm gonna get better at speaking eventually. And expressing ideas in a very like in a more straightforward, straight line manner. But these type of videos, I'm like, is there even such a thing? Like, kind of, but I'm just like being me. I'm talking to someone like I would talk to a friend or talk to like whoever that I'm like close with. I can't, you know, usually I can see the vision. I don't know if I really see the vision for like videos like this, but I'm gonna keep recording them. And like maybe someday down the line, it's like this archive that like someone is referring back to consistently to be like, I needed that. Like I needed maybe not just the information, but I needed to know that like someone else was also like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why do I fucking feel this way? But then at the same time, like, don't care to do anything about it. like this specific way, because I don't believe in like feeling a way. Like I literally just recorded another video in the same outfit in front of a whiteboard talking about like something doesn't go your way and you can either do nothing and feel negative and like depressed and anxious and then remain stagnant and then repeat that loop over and over and over again, or you can like pause and use it as a learning opportunity and then like actually learn from it and then like inherently increase your level of confidence in your ability to do something about a negative emotion or something happening that didn't go your way. And then if you repeat that loop, then you're just like increasing your confidence in your own ability to like control your reality through like how you think about things and how your perspective shifts and how you let it, whether you let it affect you or don't let it affect you. Pretty much just like stoicism visualized. But in this situation, it's like somewhat of the same, but it's not really like like the thing that like the something that isn't going my way is like this, like I'm also already putting like this brick wall up that's like, well, yeah, the something isn't going my way, but it's because I've done this. And so it's like, well, am I even at a place in life where I feel like I want to pursue something with someone? Like I'm not where I want to be. Like I'm not even fucking close. And so why would I spend time like pursuing that until like I'm at where I want to be, you know? Like I feel like I literally told one of my friends the other day, like, yeah, I've never really dealt with lust like that. I've never really dealt with like lust, like as like a recurring theme or like a common theme where I was like, felt like I was always like really drawn, like I had to avoid it sort of a thing as like a sin. But like, I feel like this is definitely that. Like this is probably how it feels like. But at the same time, I'm like, is it really lustful? Like, cause I'm not looking for like, just like cheap interaction, like cheap like intimacy. I'm looking for like fucking designer intimacy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not looking for fast food. I'm looking for like a fine dining sort of situation. Maybe I'm tripping really hard. I'm definitely thinking about it too much. But like, you know, what the fuck else am I not? What else is there that I'm possibly not way overthinking? Literally, like everything in my life, I overthink. So, hopefully that was fucking helpful to at least one of you who's somehow feeling the same way. If not, then I'll look back on this in like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years and be like, hopefully I'll be like, hey, you did it. You figured it out. It was fine. Which, like, I'm confident, like, that will be the case. But right now, all the shit I see is like, I'll see posts pop up and they're like, maybe the point is that this life for you is a solo mission, you know, or you like marry the wrong person, get divorced, get half your shit taken, and I'm like, bro, that cannot be the case. Like, that cannot be the case. But there's that like piece of like the masculinity in me that's like, yeah, maybe this is a fucking solo mission. maybe this is a complete solo op that I've got to do. You know, you see all those like motorcycle videos, it's like, was supposed to get married at 27, have kids by 32, and then like this, that, and that by like 40 or 45. But then like the other half is like buys motorcycle at 23, dies on motorcycle going 200, 210 at 27. It's like, solo operation, solo mission. Literally just bought a motorcycle. Like, bro, I feel like I'm not actually going that way, but like it like things are aligning to like make it feel like it might be that way. Not might like die at 27, because that's not gonna happen. I don't want that to happen, but like maybe this is a solo operation for real. At least for now. And like maybe I gotta be fine with that. I am fine with that. Like, I'm okay. But like every time I go out, all I fucking see is a bunch of couples. And I'm like, oh, you guys look like you're having such a nice, enjoyable time together. God, like, I bet y'all like hug each other every day and like appreciate that. Maybe not, and maybe you don't. And maybe that's like what you're missing. Maybe that's what this time is for, is so that like when I have that, I actually fucking appreciate it, because I spent so long without it, you know? It's like when you were born with money, you never appreciate having the riches. But like when you worked your fucking ass off and now you're rich, it's like now you appreciate it. Maybe low key I'm cooking. Like maybe like I think this is the point. Okay, I think that this is why I'm making these videos, because when I talk myself through them, I get to this place that like is actually like I'm getting to some good shit. The point of the loneliness, the longer you're lonely, the longer you're like missing out, the more you appreciate it when you fucking have it. So there was a point of this. I really thought I was going to end this and just like walk over to the camera and be like, well, hopefully that helps someone. But like now I know. Now I like know. I helped myself as well. That's a really good way to think about this. Like honestly, I kind of needed that. I'm definitely doing these more often, because if that happens every single time, like, ooh, we're gonna make some progress. We're gonna make some positive momentum, positive progress. And I was in a bad fucking mood when I walked upstairs, when I walked up in here today. I was not happy. Now I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go do the things I need to do. Like, it's gonna be fine, because like at the end of the day, the longer I spend like this, the more I'm gonna appreciate it when like that perfect thing just does like fall into place and like mesh into my life and my current experience like a fucking glove. And I'm like, gosh, I feel like this doesn't even take effort. It just is happening perfectly with this person, you know? And I'm just gonna be like, fuck, I appreciate that. As opposed to like hopping on some dating app and fucking everything that I can fucking, that gets in my inbox, and then like, you know, I get into a relationship and I'm like, you know, it's like I've already gotten dopamine time and time and time again. I'm dropping fucking sauce. I'm dropping sauce. Low key, like, you can't even hold me. Like, this is what being alone and like being in the state like allows me to do, and which I also do appreciate, is that like I can actually, you know, I might sit down, talk to a fucking camera and feel stupid, but then the ability to actually just talk myself through something, especially when I'm like, because literally when I sit down and like I'm talking to y'all, like I'm staring at just a camera, but like the knowing that like there's maybe one other person that's gonna see this, like actually resonate with it, makes it so that I can just speak to a friend. Like I can speak like I'm speaking to a friend, because if I was just like presenting information like all the time, then like there's no real human to that. Even if I'm talking about like some human emotion loop pattern type shit, it's like when I actually talk like this, I feel like now we're getting down into the nitty gritty of the fucking gold, dude. We're digging. That was a good gem. We found a good gem today. We found a good gem today, y'all. And it's the longer you feel the negative emotion, the longer you feel how you don't want to feel. Dude, this piggybacks perfectly off of that last video or the next video. I don't know if I might post this one first, but like there's another video coming that'll like explain what I was explaining on that like whiteboard and shit that I was doing, filming right before this. But like when something doesn't go your way, or you don't feel how you want to feel, or negative emotion happens, and then you successfully use it as an opportunity to see the glass half full, or be optimistic, or like see the good in it, or like not let it affect you or dictate how you're gonna feel, then all of these inherently increase your level of confidence in yourself and in your ability to actually dictate your experience and how things affect you. And hold on, I'm trying to connect them, hold on. And so that increased confidence, the longer you spend and the more times that you do that loop, that increased confidence also increases your confidence in the fact that when things are going good, innately, you appreciate it. Because as opposed to immediately getting pissed off, anxious, and getting negative when something happens and ignoring that is so fucking annoying. Ignoring the second or the opportunity to take a breath and view it as positive, when you're only negative, it just repeats the negative loop, and so there's no room for like actual appreciation, where the other loop actually leads to an increased confidence and also increases your confidence that that one didn't loop back as much as I wanted it to, but like I'll explain it at some point. I'm gonna go and like write it out myself, or like make a little visual for myself, and like maybe I'll explain it in another video, because that's some sauce, that's some good stuff. But like generally, the point of this one that we've reached, which like I could have just ended it. I probably should have ended it a while ago when we got to that nugget. But like the longer you feel lonely, the more you'll appreciate not feeling lonely, which is like obvious. But like I feel like it's a good little mental game you can play with yourself when you're feeling especially lonely, or when you're especially craving that like intimate interaction or relationship with someone. It's like, don't force it, because then you're just giving into cheap dopamine. And then when like something actually does come along, you appreciate it a little bit less because like you've been like fiending off of cheap dopamine, as opposed to when you just like stay down, do your thing, and recognize that like the longer that you do your own thing and that's not a part of your experience, the better it's gonna feel when you do have that as your experience. Like the longer you don't have money and the harder you have to work to give yourself financial freedom, the more you appreciate and the better it feels when you actually create and like have that financial freedom. Wonderful work. We will catch you guys next time because I'm not going to put you through like another 20 minutes of me looping back to the same thing again.